Welcome back everybody to the hunt, and today we shall be hunting the abyssal wyvern, the Namielle. Namielle is wonderful. It's such a good monster. It's a great idea. It's done extremely well, and it's perceived to be, to me, as one of my favorite new additions in the 5th generation so far, and that includes some of the stuff that's been revealed in Rise. Though we'll not go and pull up the tier list again because I lost it, we shall go and explain really fast what Namielle is. It is an abyssal wyvern, and it's done as in it has two separate modes, which is both a hybrid version and a dry version. And you need to watch out because it has two main elemental blights that will make the fight substantially harder. The first one is Water Blight. If you get hit by any water attack, Namielle will straight up kill you, which that goes for pretty much every monster, but what's really terrifying is the pattern in the kit of the Namielle. Of course, he has the usual jabs, swipes, those kinds of moves. But what really defines Namielle on top of everything is all water jets. As you saw right there, her sweeps and projectile attacks are actually really hard to deal with. And when she's hydrated, because she has two states, either dry or hydrated, it makes the water attacks and her second blight a lot more terrifying because she gains a lot of area of denial, which is Thunder Blight. So she is a 2-elemental creature, which is really interesting. And by far, they are the most dangerous kit of the Namielle. As you see, there are a lot of water puddles, like puddles of like wet texture on the ground. If you step in these, and the Namielle electrifies it, it can shock you immediately. And it travels, while it explodes the pool while it's doing so, it's also traveling across, and thus making it a lot more of a dangerous ability. And I love this little idea so much. I love the idea that it can both utilize the water, redirect it as it please, and also shock it so it creates a domino effect, shocking other pools near it, and thus making it a much more dangerous creature. With that said, the main thing that's killing me here is the water jets. Although I will say that Namielle may be the easiest elder dragon to take on in Iceborne, she's still incredibly hard to deal with, if only for those projectiles. It is a monster that I've had a bunch of issues just trying to fight normally because I kept getting killed by her fucking water jets. If you're going range in this challenge, I heavily disagree with your way of thinking. Going range against Namielle is a large majority of the time a death sentence. Her water patterns, the dodging mechanism of it, how wide it is, the slower way how she snakes her way through some of these patterns, how much range potential, area of denial she has, it's pretty much nigh impossible to do that. And the Shock Nova, which is also a really cool ability for a monster to have. It's combining both elements at the same time, and it's put to a lot more of creative use, just like the Seething Basilisk that we saw a little bit before. It's just really well done. With that said, if there's ever a way to fight, keep Namielle as dry as possible by bringing a fire weapon. Although Namielle will take quite a bit of a long time to go down, if only because she has really poor hit zone values, which we shall go into now. So the main issue that we have with Namielle when trying to fight her is that, well, she has some legitimately kind of awesome hit zone values. It's only, and I do mean only, when she's dry. The moment she gets hydrated, some of the hit zone values become way better and some of them become way worse. Let's look at it at cutting damage specifically. 36 on average, which is pretty good. You can see this in two separate real locations, hydrated and non-hydrated, which is in parentheses water. So look at it, head goes from 60 to 40, so one of the most major points, hit zone points that you will normally have on a monster, it gets lessened significantly. The neck, same thing, 45 to 25, stomach 40, stomach 30, back 30, and goes to 25. The tail goes from 40 to 25. The full legs go from 65 to 45. It's like that for everything. And That's why you want to keep her as dry as possible. Again, bring an elemental weapon. The main issue that we have with Namielle is that she doesn't take as much elemental damage as you think she would. She only takes a decent amount of elemental damage when she's hydrated. So your damage will be all over the place. If you have a raw weapon, you will only do good damage when she's dry, but she will barely be dry most of the time. If you have an elemental weapon, she will be dry a lot of the time, thus mitigating your damage, which is why most of the Namielle fights just take a little bit longer for me, or I'm too comfortable to do that. With that said, it's not that I hate the fight. I really love fighting the Namielle's kit. I think it's done super well, but it's counterintuitive to how the fight is perceived. If you want to do really well, the fight takes longer no matter what. No matter what you do, the fight will takes longer just because of how the initial value is. That's the math in Namielle, and that's so unfortunate because there's a lot, and I do mean a lot of phenomenal things to talk about. First of all, the look of it, oh my god, Namielle is such a great base creature design. I can just pull you a picture of the Namielle and you instantly recognize it be both a water creature and a very swift monster, because Namielle is surprisingly swift. She has a bunch of aerial moves that she can evade with and shock you from the top of her finger wings tips, and it's a clear bioluminescent creature, which is such a great characteristic of this creature that immediately makes you go, that's a water dragon, immediately. And there's not a whole lot of dragon in fiction that can make me think water dragon outside of the colorization. Usually I'm just like, well, that's a dragon. It might as well be any kind of element. If it wasn't blue or purple, I wouldn't think anything less of it. Namielle isn't like that. It's instantly recognizable, and for that, I absolutely love it. The major thing that I haven't talked about yet that is fantastic about her is her theme. Her theme is so well realized. It's a valse, which is how the fight actually feels. You need to dance with the Namielle in order to do correctly. If you don't do that valse with her, it feels wrong. As well as having some wonderful instrumentalization that you don't normally hear in the rest of the AMH soundtrack, which is usually high trumpets, high violins, high trombones. There's some interesting texture in some of the theme and composition there. Not composition, but the instruments chosen. And I really, really like it. Of course, he has the usual violins and, that kind of stuff. But there's some really weird, interesting ways that it played with those usual concepts. And the melody is fantastic. Just give it a listen. That's just great. As for when it comes to the fight itself, if there's ever a thing that I would recommend you going up against a Namielle, is stick to the side, shocker. Stick to the sides, be as close as possible to the Namielle, staying in range is pretty much a death sentence, and aim for the full legs. There will be your most reliable source of damage. While you can go for the hind legs for a decent amount of damage when she's dry at a solid 45, she will be hydrated most of the fight, certainly, since you don't have great elemental damage to begin with. So you can't keep her dry too much, as well as her wingspan, her cape of the wings, usually encompass a greater amount of the view, making the camera a bitch to work around, which is unfortunate because it is kind of just dangerous to go about. Which, again, go for the full legs, you're gonna be fine. Stay at range, you're gonna be dead like I was. But Namielle, overall, a fantastic monster. Even with a little bit of practice, I believe I could have done that with perhaps a little bit more time. Anyway, we'll see you all for another hunt